Welcome to GoldSeek TV. I'm here in Zurich at the European Gold Forum with the Vice President of Silvercorp, Lon Shaver. Thank you for joining us here today and coming on GoldSeek TV.
Thanks, Peter. It's a pleasure.
Great to have you here. It's been a great conference to get updated as the gold price breaks through 2,000. Silver price is above $25 an ounce. How are you feeling about the sentiment and the prospects of the precious metals market at this moment?
Well, obviously it's quite a positive after a bit of a pullback we had earlier this year. It's heartening to see the prices respond, and certainly while it's maybe a bit of a quieter show, the people who are here are certainly happy investors in the sector right now.
Right. And talking about the sector, silver now above $25 an ounce. Silvercorp, you're producing several million ounces of silver per year. Tell us more about your production profile, where the company is looking to expand its production in the coming years, and if you could also give us some insights onto your reserves and how many ounces of silver that the company holds.
Yeah, well, I mean, from a production standpoint, we've had a few years here where we've ranged between 6 and 6.5 million ounces. Later this week, we'll report our final fiscal fourth quarter for the 2023 year that ended in March. I think we're looking at around 6.5 to 6.6 million ounces for the year, so that's a healthy number. Looking ahead for next year, midpoint of our guidance is 7 million ounces of silver, so we're seeing some growth coming into that. We have further growth plans, growing that number to 8 million ounces by fiscal 2026, and we're able to do that off the back of a very strong reserve base. Our proven and probable was about 115 million ounces, and it's actually been that way for a few years because of our drilling, despite the depletion from production. So we've got a good resource base in terms of the proven probable, another 100 million plus or minus of M&I on top of that, and then in terms of inferred, another 125 million ounces. So we've got a long life to operate at these rates, and that's why we're very comfortable raising our production rate.
So you have a lot of exposure to silver. You're one of the few primary silver producers out there. What are you seeing? I guess the company's sitting on a lot of cash, $210 million of cash, a very nice, healthy reserve. What do you plan to do with your cash reserves, and what do you see potential opportunities in the silver industry to use this cash and to invest in this industry more?
Yeah, well, we built this cash balance up for the purposes of deploying it onto a new growth asset, to add a new mine in a new jurisdiction, diversify and grow the company. So we're looking at projects around the world, different locations like Africa, Latin America, Australasia, and being open-minded to not just silver but also gold opportunities as well. Mm-hmm. There's probably a larger number of gold projects out there than silver ones, but got to also remind everyone that we do have a 28% stake in New Pacific, which has not just a leading silver development asset in Silver Sand, but also two up-and-coming projects in Carangas and Silver Strike, also in Bolivia, that have a silver element, but also increasingly a gold element to them as well.
So you have a large investment in New Pacific and a huge cash position. The market is starting to kind of recognize mining companies again. Are you seeing more interest from investors now? Are they starting to recognize the various components and the value that this company has? That you do have a lot of cash that you've built up from your mining operations. I don't believe you had any financings in the past decade plus. The company has no debt. You're sitting in a very nice position here as a mining company. So when do you think the market will start recognizing the value more?
Well, I think we're definitely participating, so the market knows that with our silver production and given our cost profile, we're making money, and we're one of the few companies that has been. Mm-hmm. So I think as silver moves, we are a New York Stock Exchange listed company that will follow and move with the pack. But I think investors are also waiting to see exactly what we do with that cash position and see further developments on the New Pacific front. And that, I think, will be a catalyst to renew investor excitement in the story. And I think from the standpoint of opportunities this year, I think the prospects are good that we'll find something that we'll pull the trigger on here over the course of the next few months.
So you're very actively looking around right now.
Yeah, and that activity has really continued. I mean, obviously investors saw when we made a move on Guyana Goldfields. Unfortunately, we didn't get that one, but we stepped up to the plate and made an offer for that company. So showed people we were ready to pull the trigger, and we just needed to find the right asset. We thought that was the one for us. Since then, looking at lots of things, but not everything meets our criteria, or there isn't a deal to be done. And the sense I'm getting this year is there's people prepared to do deals in this environment, and some of the things we've been looking at recently have looking positive from an asset standpoint.
So you're very conservative in your approach in which assets you would do an acquisition with. You're not just looking to do a deal because you have money.
Yeah, I think we've been very, very disciplined, and you've got to be patient. Once you pull the trigger and you've done the deal, there's no turning back. So if you buy the wrong asset, you can really destroy shareholder value and take up management trying to fix something that doesn't work out as planned. So we really don't want to be in that situation. We want to be sure that what we're doing is going to deliver value for shareholders.
You've been delivering shareholder value through profitable mining operations. What is your all-in sustaining? What are your costs for mining right now?
Yeah, in the most recent quarter end in December, we produced silver at $9.28 an ounce, and that's net of our byproduct credits. So a pretty good margin, and obviously with silver hitting $25, that margin's expanded.
Yes, you have quite a bit of exposure to the upside on silver. Your investment into New Pacific is worth multiples than the original price.
And it also brings us more exposure to silver on an indirect basis, because the flagship project, which is the only one that has a resource so far, has an M&I of over 200 million ounces. So on a look-through basis with our 28% stake, we have exposure to silver with that investment as well.
That's been a huge discovery, done during difficult market timing. So now you're sitting on a fantastic asset as the silver market's reviving. So that value should get more recognized by the marketplace as well for New Pacific, which just enhances more of the investment value for Silvercorp shareholders. You also pay a dividend, is that correct?
Yeah, we do. It's 2.5 cents US per share, paid semi-annually. And a few months ago, that was a better yield off the share price. The share price has come up a bit, so that's ducked under 1%. But I think that the important thing to note on that dividend, it's really meant as a bit of a symbolic commitment to shareholders. Good times and bad, we can make money with our operations being so low cost and generating cash flow. So the intention with the dividend is to show that we're always thinking about shareholders and giving shareholders a return. What we're obviously looking to do with the cash flow that we've been building up, as I said, is to deploy it on a new asset that can generate growth, add more cash flow to the corporate engine, and we think that will drive higher shareholder value.
I think that's a great point. You have the upside leverage to the silver price, but if the silver price doesn't perform like it has in the last several years, you can sustain and still be profitable during difficult market environments, which a lot of silver companies don't have that luxury. So you're sitting in a very nice position there that way. So for future acquisitions, I would imagine you're looking for similar criteria that you are looking for lower cost operations, kind of situations where you can continue to mine during difficult times and then really see benefits.
Mining really comes down to like any other business, you have to generate margin, and not just margin when in the good times, but also be prepared for the down cycles, so that you can continue to put cash on the balance sheet through your operations, not having to dilute shareholders in tough times by issuing more stock and also at lower share prices.
Yeah, which is amazing. I really congratulate Silvercorp for being able to not issue any shares for the last 13 years, has it been? You haven't financed, and you've been building up a cash position, investing, adding shareholder value, and now with the silver price starting to get some respect as well, the company is sitting, it looks like, in a fantastic position to really capitalize on that and growing a production profile. if we could talk a little bit about that expansion in the next mines, you have another project just north of your existing mine and mill approach where you can just take the ore, ship it down to your mill. So if you could just tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, the Quanping project is an example of what we see as the hub and spoke strategy that we can deploy at the Ying district. There's a number of projects in the vicinity of our Ying mines where we have 7 mines currently running on operating on 4 mining permits, and we have 2 mills that we use to process the ore. The Quanping project we bought in the fall of 2021 for a pretty modest $13.5 million. We did all the paperwork and got the mining permit just this last quarter. The quarter ended December. A few additional ancillary permits related to the environmental protection plan, safety production plan, getting a mine plan together. But really the strategy for that project is very similar to the way Ying was built, which was to rapidly get into early mining, get into ore there. And the fact that we have the milling facility at Ying, we can truck that ore down and process it. So we don't have to build another mill to get that running and start to generate incremental production and cash flow from that asset, and hoping to have more details on what the mine plan and the contribution will be later this year.
That's an excellent approach. You start building cash flow and able to build off of that, which limits your time to get ounces into production and dilution there. So that's
well, and I'd say that strategy for Quanping also applies to our worldwide M&A activity. We're not looking at projects to get stuck in something that's going to have a multi-year permitting and development timeline. We're really trying to find a project that either has or is very close to permits, where we feel we can get a license to operate at the community, local government, central government level, so that when we make our move, when we make an acquisition, we can speak to shareholders and give a production time frame with a high degree of confidence.
Okay, so that's a great approach. It's been very successful for the company, and it's great to see the company grow and develop a very healthy, nice cash position, be in a position of strength in a market that you see a lot of other companies having issues with cash. They're struggling basically. You've seen a lot of companies having to dilute their shareholders and issue a lot of cheap stocks. So it's been wonderful as an investor and shareholder in Silvercorp to see that the company is very protective of its shareholders. Insiders comprise a large component of ownership of the company, I believe.
Actually, the stock is pretty well distributed because of how the history of the company began. And that comes back to the fact that it was started effectively as an RTO, reverse takeover, led by our chairman and CEO. And then in the early years, some of the financings that were done through Bay Street and Wall Street put stock into the hands of institutions. When the mining market collapsed and everyone vacated the sector, all of that stock ended up broadly distributed within the retail sector. So we count amongst our shareholder base about 2/3 is retail, and we definitely appreciate that support and that vote of confidence.
Oh, that's great. And for investors who are interested in the company, you're trading on the TSX and the
NYC American.
NYSE.
Yeah, symbol SVM on both exchanges.
Great. And the website address?
silvercorpmetals.com or silvercorp.ca.
Okay, great, Lon. Thank you very much for your time and giving us an update on Silvercorp. Look forward to how the year develops and looking really forward to what sort of acquisition opportunities show up. So good luck with that and look forward to catching up in the near future.
Thanks, Peter. Yeah, we're excited. We think this is going to be an exciting year here going ahead.
Great. Thank you.
Thanks.